for the highways of America, which for so many years were an assortment of as many designs and pavements as there were states, are now becoming one big road that can take you anywhere faster, safer, and more directly than ever before. What is this big road? Where is it going? How much has been built? How much is yet to come? These are questions we ask. Certainly traveling the entire system would be a memorable experience, but few of us have the time for such a trip.
Hello everyone, and welcome to The Open Highway. I'm your host, Eric Erickson, and I'm so excited to have you here. Your first question is probably, what is The Open Highway? Well, it's a new podcast. Oh no, gosh, another new podcast. Well, I think this one's a little bit different. So many of you tuning in, you may know about my work as an actor, a writer, a director, but I'm guessing that a lot of you don't know that I used to be a journalist. I worked for the Chicago Tribune City News Service. I worked for the Roswell Daily Record, as well as a number of other newspapers, media outlets, and such. I also worked in radio, going all the way back to high school, as well as hosting a number of podcasts, but usually they were comic podcasts with sketches and interviews, but they were more personality funny driven than topical. And I'd been listening to a lot of podcasts recently, and some I enjoyed, some not so much. And one of the things that I was really interested in doing was having a conversation. I feel like too many podcasts become promotional, become people just talking about their projects, their books, or how wonderful their life is. And I wanted to get back to having actual discussions, which is why I came up with the name The Open Highway, because I'm a huge fan of road trips. And one of the great things about going on a road trip is meeting new people, sitting at that diner with a cup of coffee and talking to somebody from another background, from another way of life, and learning. So I wanted to bring that to a conversational, topical podcast. So I lined up a series of amazing guests, and we talk about all sorts of great things that you're going to see starting to unspool in the first season of this show. So some of our upcoming guests include Kat Waters, who's a good friend of mine. She's a former WWE wrestler. We end up talking a little bit about wrestling, but have an amazing conversation that gets into gender issues and the world around us, which is really worth a listen. We chat with Matthew Neubauer, who's a former police detective, about the state of policing in America. How did we get here? Where are we going? We chat with Stephen Wheeler, a professor at UC Davis, about climate change, about how we're going to handle it. Where do we go from here? Leilani Upham, who's from the Blackfeet Nation in Montana. We have an amazing discussion about Indians and Native Americans, the terminology, the misconceptions. And these are just some of the shows that we have coming up, and I'm really excited about that. So one of the reasons that I wanted to do this show was, well, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was starting to feel a little stagnant. I didn't feel like I was learning. And part of that's probably COVID, because we all get a little bit down and we get stuck in the mud, and some of the habits that we've all developed. But the way I learn is I like to meet people, and I like to talk to them and have conversations, hence the show. And I thought that was the best way to go about it. So I wanted to pick topics that were interesting to me. And I think that if they're interesting to me, then it's going to be an interesting conversation. And then my hope is that all of you will enjoy it just as much as I do, and we'll all learn something. And that's what it's all about, right? So it's about the open highway, having the open mind, having the open discussion, getting out there and seeing what lies all around. So I hope you enjoy the show. New episodes every week. I think it's going to be an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to having you join me on it. So welcome to the Open Highway.